Hi guys, it's Katie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel today. Today I'm really excited to be participating in the Look for Less challenge. This is a challenge that goes live every month and is hosted by Yami at the Latina Next Door. This challenge is to find something that is very high-end and recreate it for much less, which is something I love doing, and I have loved participating in these challenges, but I have missed them the last few months, so I'm excited to be able to participate again today. In addition to Yami, she also is co-hosted this month with Courtney at Creative on the Cheap. I've linked up both of their YouTube channels down below, as well as the playlist for today. There's going to be tons of inspiration. There always is some amazing items on the playlist. So I have quite a few ideas racked up for the Look for Less challenge. But I was on Wayfair recently checking out some fun things, and I saw these signs and I knew that they would be perfect in my new guest bedroom. So today I'm going to show you guys how I recreated them with maybe a little bit of my own style on them for very inexpensive, and I will give you a sneak peek into my guest room as well. So for my project, I am starting with one 1x12 that was 8 feet long. I divided it into thirds, so they ended up being about 32 inches for each length, and then of course the 11.5-ish inches wide if you're looking. This one 1x12 board cost me about $18. I've got the breakdown at the end of the video for what everything costs me. But I buy all of my wood from the local lumber yard, and I appreciate that because I was able to just call and say, hey, this is the wood that I need, and they cut it for me and they loaded it up and they charged it out, and I didn't even have to go inside. So then I created these stencils on my Cricut die cutting machine, cut them out of stencil vinyl. This is probably some place where you could save a little bit of money if you wanted to use masking tape and create a design, or even if you wanted to just cut it out of some sort of reusable material so that you could use it over and over. I really love working with my stencil vinyl, and so I use it a lot. I am going to put a link up because I'm adding this video also to my DIY wood sign playlist. So I'm not going into great detail today sharing with you guys how I create the stencils and the sign and paint and yada yada, because I have multiple videos on that. What I'm doing here though is just measuring to make sure that I have everything ready, and then I'm using the hinge method of applying the stencil. I've taped it down in the middle. I'm going to flip it over, remove the backing on the stencil, and then put it down. Now that I've got all of the stencils ready and prepped, I'm not doing as much work on this because I really want it to be kind of the rustic look. So I'm using the stippling brush and just kind of stippling the paint on there. I'm not going really wild with it because I kind of want it to have the distressed look to it and not be perfect crisp edges. So I'm just going to go around and stipple all of the paint onto my project, and then once everything is painted, I like to pull up the stencils before things are really dry. This is what I do for all of my signs, and because I'm not really getting too wild with this and getting crazy, I don't have to wait too long, but they're already not super dry, but they're ready to pull up, and this really is the most satisfying part of any project, is taking that stencil off there. Now, because I did this super rusticy looking, using cardstock would have been perfect. The next thing I did is I took it out into the shop and I sanded off the top. You can see the one on the right hand side has been sanded, and I really liked that look, but you need to make sure that your paint is dry before you do that, or you will make a big mess. I also decided that I really liked the framed look, and I didn't want to spend any more money by putting extra wood on there, and I also didn't want any extra weight on there. So I'm just going to be doing kind of a faux frame technique here. And what I did was I went around and I measured about 1/2 inch inside of my sign. And then I'm just using blue masking tape. And then I got some of the darker gel stain. I love gel stain. It is probably one of my favorites, but I only have a little bit left in my stash, so that's why I didn't use it first. But I did go ahead and do a little bit darker just around the edges and then peeled it up. Now right here, it maybe doesn't look so cool, but once I get them hung up on the wall, they look awesome. The next thing I did to kind of help make it easier for me to hang these level was I measured them out how I wanted them to be on the wall. They're about 3 inches apart, and then I made sure that they're level. I did add Sawtooth hangers to the middle of each one, and then I'm just putting some blue painter's tape and then marking the middle of each of those Sawtooth hangers. So now I've got my blue painter's tape, and I'm going to put it up on the wall about where I want it to be. And I usually have a pretty darn good eye, and it really was almost spot on, but I did use my level because I didn't want it to be too offset, and I made sure that it was level. And then I just added nails right above where I marked on the blue painter's tape. Then I was able to hang the signs up, and they were all even. There's many different ways to do this, but this seems to be about the easiest way for me to do this. I'm super excited about how these turned out. They are awesome. They are just mind-blowing, and the transformation in this room has been so cool. I will share a little bit at the end of this video how I transformed this into a guest room if you guys are interested. But I did also want to take a minute and show you guys the breakdown of costs. So here you can kind of see how it does look framed, but it's flat against the wall. There's not a whole lot of extra weight, and it did cut down on the costs. So these 3 signs on Wayfair were $170 plus shipping. The 3 of mine cost $22 all together. I think that is so awesome. The bulk of my cost was in that 1x12. I don't know that I really spent $1 worth of paint and stain or hardware, and maybe the vinyl was a little bit off. But for the 3 of them, $22 is an amazing price point for this amazing project. This room was my son's bedroom before we turned it into a guest room, and he painted it these bright, bold colors when we moved in here. So it took a lot of work to get it cleaned out. We spent a day going through and cleaning out all of the excess stuff because it had kind of just been a catch-all room. And then it took a couple of coats of Kills and then a couple of coats of white paint, and we transformed it into a really mature farmhousey guest room look, and I'm really excited about it. I've got lots more details on my Instagram, so make sure you stop over there and check it out. For more behind the scenes on today's video, as well as bonus DIYs and just a little bit of fun, make sure you're following me over on Instagram. That's where the party's at. Thanks so much for watching.